Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How's it going? Welcome. Hope you guys are doing fantastically well. Thank you so much for joining this week's lesson. As you can already see, we're going to be covering ratios. Try our best to get through as much as ratios as possible. You might notice I'm a bit of a changed background this week. It's because I'm visiting my parents, so thought I'd let you guys know just if you were wondering. So yeah, a bit of a change scenario this time. So I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Hope you're having a fantastic week and everything is well at school and stuff. I'm guessing most of you have only a few days, or sorry, a few weeks left of school. Some of you might be breaking up this week, next week, and the week after. So, that final push, guys. Summer is almost here. And then you can enjoy the sunny days, relax, regain the energy and have a good time. Okay, so as you enter the video, please leave a message in the chat. Say hello. Hoping to see a few more of you regulars here, and then we'll get going in a few minutes, right? So I apologize if I keep looking here. It's because the chat is here. You guys are here, but your messages are here. So I'm going to try my best to to try and manage between that as best as I can. Okay. So how's everyone been? How is your week going thus far? If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat as well. So yeah, I'll give you a quick introduction as to what we're going to be covering today in terms of ratios, because personally I feel ratios in terms of the variety, I think it's one of the topics that has the most breadth of information and different types of questions that you can be asked. So we're going to try our best to explore each and every single bit, and then hopefully you guys are able to build your confidence with those. Okay, so we'll start off relatively simple. So I hope you guys had a chance to have a go at the beginner starter questions, which some of you might be wondering were a bit weird because they were fractions, and you might be wondering, well, what the hell, how is it related to ratios? You'll see in a short while why I asked you to simplify fractions as a starter question for ratios. But yeah, we'll get going. I mean, it's 7 minutes past now, so what we might as well do is just start already, and then the ones who are joining can join as we start. So let me just switch over. Okay, here we are. First slide of the day is here. Okay, just noticed you cannot see me, so let me try and sort that out. Where are we? Okay. Is it going to work? Yay, it's going to work. Okay, so here we are. So the first concept that we're going to cover is to do with simplifying ratios. Okay, now as you can see on the board, this suggests that we can simplify ratios in the same way as fractions. And this is precisely why I got you to do the starter activity, because simplifying ratios is pretty much identical to simplifying fractions, in that the method that you use is to do with dividing and finding a common factor that you can divide by. Okay, so we're not going to spend too much time on this, guys, because again, it's relatively straightforward. It's just testing your ability to do some division. But obviously, I do want you to have some sort of attempt at this. So, as a way of showing you how to go about these, for those of you wondering how, okay, so in order to simplify a ratio, you look at the different aspects of the ratio, which in the first scenario, if we take as an example to A, is 10 and 5, and you find a common factor. And you divide by that common factor. Okay, the common factor of 10 and 5 is obviously 5. So when you divide both of these by 5, you end up with 2, 1 as your simplified ratio. Similarly, if we look at B, what's the common factor of 12 and 18? Okay, well, there's quite a few this time. We have 2, we have 3, we have 4. So 2, 3, and 6 are the ones. So if you are, whilst we're on the point, if you are ever in a situation where there are more than one factors, always go for the largest one. So the largest factor in this scenario is 6. So when we divide that ratio by 6, we end up with 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then the last one, we can divide by 7. And so this would become 2, 3, for as a simplified ratio. Okay. Now, in terms of what you're required in regards to simplifying ratios, it doesn't get much more complicated than this. Okay. If you're asked in a question, simplify this ratio as far as possible, you do exactly as what we've done here. Find a common factor, divide through that by that common factor until the ratio that you have cannot be simplified further. Okay, so take a couple of minutes, guys, just as a warm-up activity. Have a go at some of the quick fire simplifying questions below. And what we'll do is we'll quickly go through the answers and then we'll swiftly move on to the more challenging stuff in regards to ratios. Okay, so like I said, don't be too worried. This is not the focus for today. This is warm-up activity just to get us going. Okay, I won't take too much time. I'm just going to give you 30 seconds. Okay, do as many as you can, guys. If you want to skip a few and do the more challenging ones near the bottom, do so as well. There is a wordy question in there as well, which I have included intentionally because this is something you might be asked to do as well in terms of simplifying. So you might be given some sort of context and then asked to simplify a ratio within that situation. So whilst you're doing that, hello to all you guys who are joining now. I hope you're doing really, really well. This is I think this is our fourth last lesson. So yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, we've got 3 more after this. This is our fourth last one, which is a shame because I've really enjoyed doing these. And I hope you guys have learned something as well and progressed along the way. Okay, not going to waste too much time. Let's quickly mark these. These are the answers you should have obtained. Hopefully you can see them. And again, how do you attain these answers? You do so by finding common factors of the 2 or the 3 parts of the ratios and just you divide through. Again, it's very similar to fractions. So if you can simplify fractions, I have no concerns with this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover in terms of the more challenging stuff is dividing into ratios. And how we're going to do so is essentially by doing some example questions because I think that's, the best way of tackling these sort of things. Okay, so the question says, if you already know, I'm more than happy for you to skip ahead and have a go at these questions. So the question says the ratio of muffins to cupcakes in a cake sale is 3-1. Okay. There's 20 cakes in total. How many muffins are there? So this is a situation in which we're given a ratio of two things, okay, which in this case are muffins and cupcakes, and then we are told the total amount of both of those added together. And essentially what we need to find is how many of each there are, muffins there are in this scenario. Okay. And the method we go about doing this is essentially finding one part. Okay. Now, what do I mean when I say parts? Hopefully some of you have already heard this term when it comes to ratios. If you haven't, that's absolutely fine. When I'm referring to the word part, I'm essentially referring to the quantities assigned in each ratio. So for example, the question says that muffins to cupcakes, so I'm going to say M to C, is 3-1. So the 3 is assigned to the muffins and the 1 is assigned to the cupcakes. So what we are saying is we are saying that as part of the ratio, we have assigned 3 parts to muffins and 1 part to cupcakes. So then what do? If you notice, we are given the total amount. Okay. So the total amount is 20. But in terms of the ratio, how many total parts do we have? We have 3 for muffins and 1 for cupcakes. So in actual fact, we have 4 parts in total. Okay, let me change color. We have 4 parts in total. So what we do in this scenario, guys, is we equate the total parts to the total cakes, until we get 4 parts equal to 20. And by doing so, we have an equation in which we can solve for 1 part now. So 4 parts equal to 20. So from going from 4 parts to 1 part, what are we doing, guys? We're dividing by 4. Okay, so let me illustrate that as well. We're dividing by 4. Okay, really poor choice of colors. Right, that's better. Dividing by 4, and so 1 part is actually equal to 5. Now, this is the most important part, guys. And generally speaking, this method is what we're going to be using for the majority of questions that appear on ratios. So please, 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 it is absolutely imperative that you understand this method and how we obtain the one part. So 1 part is equal to 5. Then all we need to do is we just need to scale up to these values here, right? Because we know that 3 parts were assigned to muffins and 1 part was assigned to cupcakes. So we just multiply this value by the respective parts in the ratio. And so we get 15 and 5 as in terms of the final values. Good afternoon, Mikhail. Thank you so much for joining. I know I can always count on you to join these sessions. Welcome. Welcome to the rest of you who are joining as well. Thank you so much for joining. As always, we're doing ratios today. We're going to do a couple aspects of ratios and try and do as much as that as possible. Okay, so to answer the question then, the question says how many muffins are there? So we found the total amount of muffins, and that is 15. Why? Because muffins were assigned 3 parts. 1 part is 5, and so 3 parts is equal to 15. Right. Now, here is a chance for you to test your understanding of the same type of stuff. Okay, the questions start off relatively easy, and then they get progressively harder. Okay, have a go, and then we'll discuss answers. I mean, I'll show you the answers in a couple of minutes. Okay. If you have any questions, if you're uncertain about anything or unsure, if you have a question, do put it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer that for you. Okay. So, couple of minutes. I'll give you until 19 minutes past, guys. Again, as said, because they get progressively harder, if you want to skip a few and do the more challenging ones, that's absolutely fine. Whatever is, whatever you feel confident with, essentially. Okay. And the last ones are actually quite tricky because of the fact that you might need to do something with the units. Okay, so when I say units, I'm talking about the fact that question 4 is to do with kilometers and meters. So you might want to do something with those units in order to answer that. That's the hint I'm going to give you. Okay. And if you get done early, just put a thumbs up in the chat. Put a message in the chat saying you're done, or you're happy to move on, or let's see the answers, something like that, just so that I know you guys are ready to see the answer. Because I don't want to rush anyone. Absolutely no rush, guys. Take your time. Even if you do one question, okay, and you're able to get it right and do it properly, that is the most important thing. Okay, so yeah, about 90 more seconds, guys, and then we'll go back to it. Okay, what are your plans for the summer, guys? Anyone got anything interesting? I know summer holidays are starting soon. One thing, guys, that really gets on my nerves is that, I mean, you can't really blame them, but the fact that as soon as summer holidays hit, the airline prices of flight, they just skyrocket, right? If any of you have been through that, that difficulty of seeing a price for a plane, for a flight, and you compare it to, a month earlier, it's like double, triple the price. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, if you guys are going away or you're staying local, going somewhere, near, okay, going for a drive or something like that, it doesn't have to be a flight, you know what I mean? Someone's already done, Mikhail. Thank you so much. Well done. Brilliant speed. Okay, what we'll do is we'll double check these. Okay. In about 20 seconds. So we'll go through the answers in about 20 seconds. Okay. I myself, what am I doing? I don't have no plans for the summer. In terms of what I've got to do, I mean, I think I mentioned this before to you guys, right? I've actually graduated from uni this year, so I'm in the very privileged position of looking for work. Now, if some of you aren't already aware, when you graduate, it's all well and happy because you finish your degree, all that kind of stuff. But finding a job is actually a lot harder than it seems. So I'm in that very fortunate position of looking for a job. Okay, so let's mark these then. These are the answers that you should have got. So question 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mark them again. So for question number 4, you could have changed it to meters from kilometers, or you could have left it as in kilometers and given it as a decimal. And similarly for part B, you could have changed it to centimeters from meters. Brilliant. Thank you, Mikhail. Mark these for me. The rest of you as well, if you manage to do these, just mark them off. If there are any that you're uncertain of, let me know. If you can figure out where you went wrong, that's absolutely perfect. I prefer it if you guys get 1 or 2 wrong, so then you can actually visually see where you made a mistake and then amend that for, later stages. Well done. So, actually, let me give you 10 more seconds just to mark that. Let me know how you guys did. Did you get 100%? Did you get 1 wrong? Did you make a mistake somewhere? Let me know how you guys did, and then we'll move on to the next aspect of this. Okay, so another type of ratio question you might be asked is, it's kind of similar, okay, but have a read of this. In a death match, wow, a bit scary, but forgive me, I don't know why. I made this PowerPoint quite a while ago. So, in a death match of monkeys versus squirrels, the monkeys outnumber the squirrels by a ratio of 5 to 2. Okay, should say there are 35 monkeys. How many squirrels are there? Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you so much, guys. So, how many squirrels are there? This time, guys, if we look at the information we're given, okay, so it's this. So, monkeys to squirrels is 5 to 2. Have I got that right? Yeah. And then we're given 30. So this time, we're given the amount of the monkeys. Okay, so monkeys is 35. We haven't been given the total, like we were in the last questions, only the number of monkeys. So what we do is, the method in terms of creating an equation is the same. So we're still going to create an equation to find one part. But what we equate it to is something slightly different. So this time, the 35, as opposed to equating it to the total number of parts, we're only going to equate it to the parts of monkeys. And that kind of makes sense, right? That kind of makes sense because of the fact that you're dealing with the quantity of monkeys only. Therefore, when equating it to the parts, you're only going to use the parts from the monkeys. And then the method of finding one part is the same. Let me just move that over. Yeah, so then one part is equal to 7. Okay, why? Because to go from 5 parts to 1 part, what you're going to do, you're dividing by 5. Okay, you're dividing by 5, and that gives you the value of 1 part, which is 7. And then it says how many squirrels are there. Therefore, all you need to do is just need to scale from 1 part up to 2 parts, because that is what the squirrels were assigned in the ratio. Okay, and so 2 parts, hopefully you've already calculated this, is 14. So the total number of monkeys there were 35. The total number of squirrels there were 14. And the method we used is the same method in that we find 1 part, but the only thing that was different in this situation was the equation that we started with to begin with. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you, Rashmi. Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay. Same kind of question again. So we're told about a drawer which contains white socks and black socks only. And then we're given the ratio of white socks to black socks. And then we are told that there are 12 white socks. So, as always, we begin these questions by creating an equation. The equation is going to be the number of white socks to how many parts, right? Is it going to be the total parts, or is it going to be only the parts of that is assigned to white in the ratio? Okay. I'm going to give you, let's say, I'm going to give you up until 27 minutes past. So 3 minutes. But I have a feeling many of you will get this, will finish with this a lot earlier. So if you get done, let me know in the chat that you're finished and that you're ready to move on. Give me a thumbs up again, or just let me know you're done. Can we do trigonometry next week? Of course, Mikhail. Of course. Yeah, I'm always happy for you guys to just suggest anything. I don't have a concrete template that I want to go through with you guys. I'm absolutely happy to, I'm open to accepting your suggestions. So thank you, Mikhail. Trigonometry is definitely something I'll put down. Okay, and then I'll get some feedback. Anything else, guys, that you feel like you want to do, let me know so that I can make a note of it and we can cover it at some point. Okay. And for those of you wondering if there are going to be any exam questions, there I do have some at the end of this, at the end of these exercises. It's just a case of if we manage to get through all the exercises and then have time for the exam questions. Okay. So thank you for that, Mikhail. What time are we on? Okay, we are on 25 minutes past. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you another 90 seconds and then we'll go through it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the first one I think is relatively easy in terms of how you find one part. I don't think you actually need to do any calculation. The second and third one, yeah, you might need to do some dividing in order to find one part. Okay. Of course, any questions, guys, let me know. We've already got a set of answers in the chat. Thank you, Mikhail. Excellent. Okay, I'm guessing you are done. Okay, so if Mikhail is anything to go by, hopefully you all should be done. But I'm going to give you another 30 seconds just in case some of you are still working on those. Okay, so well done, Mikhail. Take a break for a quick 30 seconds, have a sip of water, and then come back. And then circle equations and stimulus equations. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I will make a note of these. I'll just get those jotted down. And then I'll try and incorporate as much of these as possible for our upcoming lessons. Okay, guys, off we go. Have a go. Oh, sorry, just mark these for me. Hopefully you can see them. I do apologize if the quality is slightly lower than usual today. But hopefully you can see everything. Okay. Ooh. I've just realized, are these the wrong questions? The wrong answers, guys? I think I might have put the wrong answers here. Are they? Are they? Yeah, I think they're the same as the other ones, right? Yeah, they are. Okay. I do apologize. What I'm gonna do is we'll quickly work through them now. Okay, so to begin with, so this one. So what I'll do is I'll just talk you through them. So white socks was 12 and the ratio was 1 part. So that was essentially, 1 part is equal to 12. And so 3 parts would have been 36. Okay. So that was the number of black socks in the draw. Okay, James has some apples and oranges. The ratio of apples and oranges is 2 to 5. He has 15 oranges. Okay. So you would have 5 parts is equal to 15. 1 part is then equal to 3. And so apples would be 2 times 3. 2p is equal to 6. So this would have been your answer for that one. Let me just zoom up a bit. Sorry, scroll up a bit. Okay, the ratio of lemon sweets to strawberry sweets in a tub is 5 to 3. There are 120 lemon sweets. So then we equate 120, not parts, 120 is equal to 5 parts. Okay. Divide it through, you should get 1 part to be 24, is it? And so 3 parts would be 72. So this would be your final answer. Okay. Apologies, guys. I should have probably checked that. Like I said, I made this PowerPoint a long time ago, so forgive me for that. Okay, right. Here is a practice exam question on some of the stuff we've just covered. So Jack, Kate, and Lila share some money in the ratios 5 to 9 to 6. In total, Jack and Kate receive 56 euros. Work out the amount of money Lila receives. So, what, in terms of the quantity, 56 euros, who possesses that quantity or that money? And using that knowledge, what should we equate 56 to in terms of the parts? Okay, that is a hint I'm going to give you. I believe this is a 3-mark question, so typically you would probably need about 3 minutes to answer this. So 30 seconds have already passed, guys, so I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes. See if you can figure this out. In total, Jack and Kate receive 56 euros. Okay. Work out the amount of money Lila receives. Okay. I am uncertain as to if this was calculator or non-calculator. I believe this is non-calculator. Okay. If you feel like you can't do this without a calculator, then by all means, just quickly you can use it, but try and do it without. If you get done early, put your answer in the chat and we'll compare, we'll go through it, and then we'll mark it in about 90 seconds. Jack, Kate, and Lila receive money in the ratio 5 to 9 to 6. In total, Jack and Kate receive 56 euros. Work out the amount of money Lila receives. Nice, guys. I'm seeing some answers in the chat. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you, Rashmi. I'm guessing. Well done, guys. What fantastic pace that you were working at as well. That was done relatively quickly, which is really good. So let's go through the answer then. So what you should have done is, because we're talking about Jack and Kate, the 56 you're going to equate to the parts of Jack and Kate as well, which I believe are 5 and 9. Yeah. Add those together, so that is actually equal to 14 parts. Okay, let me put the euro sign. Okay, yeah. So 56 euros equal to 14 parts. Divide through. So one part, 56 divided by 14, I believe, yep, is 4. Is it 4? So that means one part is equal to 4 euros. And so Lila receives what stake? She receives 6 parts. And so 6 parts is 24, which I know some of you put in the chat. So well done. Well done, those of you who got 24. Let's move on swiftly then. Okay, so the next type of question is when you're given a ratio, but the quantity you're given is not actually the amount someone has. It's actually the difference between the two people. So Alice and Bob share some money in the ratio 7 to 4. Okay, so Alice has 7 parts and Bob has 4 parts. Okay. Alice received £12 more than Bob. Okay. If we're given a comparison this time, in that Alice has received this much more than Bob, then what we do is we take that £12 and we equate it to the difference in the parts, which is 3 parts. Okay, so actually, you probably realize these questions are not, ratios are not too bad because everything is intuitive, everything makes sense when you're sort of formulating that equation. Okay, so if you can translate what the question is saying and sort of mathematically engage that in your mind, then you shouldn't have an issue. Okay, so we have £12 equal to 3 parts, and again, just follow the method that we've been doing since the beginning. 1 part is equal to £4. And then, sorry, I'm smiling. I'm smiling because I just saw Mikhail's message. I'll respond to you in just a second, Mikhail. And then we're asked to find, how much they receive in total. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can multiply this 1 part by 4 and 7 and then add them together. Okay, so you can calculate how much they got respectively. Okay, but a quicker way of doing this would be to recognize that in total, so the total number of parts is equal to 11. So I'm actually going to multiply this by 11, and so 11 parts is equal to 44 pounds. 44 pounds. Okay. And that is how we go about answering questions when the difference is given. Okay, so give you a couple of minutes, sorry, a couple of seconds just to get that down. Yes, thank you, Rashmi. You are 100% correct. Thank you for that. Well done. Okay, so here are the next types of questions. I don't know why I decided to put some images in, but hey ho, off you go. Here are some questions in which you are given some ratios and then you're given the difference. Okay, Actually, you're not given the difference in all of them, some of them. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, so you're actually only given the. So this is kind of a recap, as well as an exercise on what we just did. Okay, so just so you guys remember all the other things that we've done as well. Okay, and whilst you guys do that, I'm just gonna let you know that Mikhail is an absolute disgrace. I cannot believe I'm reading the following. You support Man United. Oh, Mikhail. You, my friend, I feel very sorry for, because I could never ever in my whole life, if someone paid me £1 million to support a club like that, absolute shambles, right? I support a real club. I support a club with passion, and that club begins with L and it ends in Liverpool. And that is the best club in the world, best fans in the world, best passion, best everything. That is what you call a real club. Right, Mikhail? So, I respect you as a student, but your football knowledge? Nah. Right, anyway. Um, I'm only joking, man. Man United, decent club. Right. The rest of you, I believe you've had about a minute. So I'll give you a couple more minutes, and then we'll go through some of the answers. Okay. The last one is actually quite tricky, because it requires, so a sort of prerequisite of this is that you know some quality about triangles. There is a particular quality about triangles that you need to know in order to answer this question. And that quality is that all angles in a triangle add up to. Okay, so then you have the total number of parts, and then you have the sum of all of the angles. Okay. Arsenal all the way, Man United is the best. No, come on, guys. Come on. What are you guys playing at? Absolute. Oh, I'm ashamed. I'm absolutely ashamed. But yeah, to be honest, I respect Arsenal, because I like Mikel Arteta, I like Odegaard, and I like Martinelli. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if Liverpool signed Martinelli, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But yeah, Arsenal, good team. I like Arsenal, so yeah, I like that. Lebe, I like you. Okay, so we'll say 30 more seconds, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so and have you managed to finish? Because I don't want to show you the answers too quickly, because I do want to give you a chance to have a go at them. All of them, I mean. So let me know in the chat once you finish or you're done with these questions. I'll give you another 30 seconds and then we'll go. We'll say as soon as the clock hits 4:39, I'll show you the answers, and then we can discuss any misconceptions, any questions. Okay. It is not maths. What does that mean, Mikhail? Is there something wrong with the questions? Is that what you're saying? It is not maths. Okay, clock is going to hit 39 in about 10 seconds. So I'll show you the answers. Thank you, Mikhail. Cheers for the countdown. And here we go. Yes, well done, Mikhail. Right, so this is where we are at. These are the answers you should have got. So for the first one, it was 18. For the second one, it was 2,400. Third one, it's 77. And fourth one, okay, because so we're dealing with the angles in the triangle. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading your comment now. It's something to do with the title. not know the YouTube link. It's not maths. Okay, I'll sort that out, Mikhail. But yeah, these are the answers you should have got. If any of you want me to go through the one to do with the triangles, I think it's pretty self-explanatory in that because the ratios in total, they add up to 9. So you equate 9 parts to the 180 degrees, which they all add up to. And then that is what you use to find one part. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next type. Okay, so this is something I wanted to go through with you guys. I mean, it's not as important. And when I say it's not as important, I very rarely see a question like this actually come up on an exam. But you are expected to know this. You are expected to know how to write different ratios, how do I say this? In terms of one another, okay? So, and including algebra terms as well, okay? So what I might do is, I'll show you how to do the first one. So the first one says the ratio of red balls to yellow balls is 1 to 3. If the number of red balls is x and the number of yellow balls is y, write an equation for x in terms of y, okay? And a lot of students, they might get confused by this because how can you write an equation in terms of something else when you don't know the values? But this is where we use the ratio. Because remember, ratios tell us quantities. And in this case, it's telling you if there is one red ball, there's going to be 3 yellow balls. If there's 2 red, then there's going to be 6 yellow. If there's 3 red, there's going to be 9 yellow, and so on and so forth. So in terms of, in respect to one another, the number of yellow balls will always be 3 times the amount of red balls. So what you can write by that, you can say that 3x is equal to y. Okay, that is a bit tricky. Because remember, x guys represents red. And y represents yellow. And as I've said to you, because of what the ratio states or what it conveys, it tells us that the number of yellow balls will always be 3 times the number of red balls. That is why we end up with this equation here. 3x is equal to y. And that makes sense, right? Because again, if you take any example, 3 times the number of red balls will always give you the number of yellow ones. Okay, so and then all you need to do, because it says give an equation for x in terms of y, all this means is you need to have x on its own. So rather than having it as 3x, we can rearrange this to be x is equal to y over 3. Okay, because we divide both sides by 3 using the concept of solving equations or rearranging equations, algebraic equations. Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned, these are a bit tricky to wrap your head around. My advice would be to use examples. Okay. But yeah. Okay. The next one is the ratio of red balls to yellow balls is 3 to 5. The number of red balls is x. So same type of question again, but this time we're given a different ratio. Okay, so how would we go about doing this? Again, maybe use some examples. And see if you can figure out the answer to that one. Okay. And I really want you to have a go at the last one. So the number of yellow balls is twice the number of red balls, and the number of green is 4 times the number of yellow. Determine the ratio of red to yellow to green. Okay. So if you're uncertain about this question here, don't worry. I'm more interested if you can do this question here. Okay. And then we will go through it. Okay. And whilst you're doing this, guys, so cliche I know, but please leave a like if you've enjoyed the lesson. I always say this: if you feel as though you made some sort of progress or you learned at least one new thing today, then drop a like for me, please. It does help, and it does show that this is actually working. and you enjoy these types of lessons, or you're actually you find these lessons quite productive. Okay, so please do so. It actually means a lot. I know we're a relatively small channel, and it might seem a bit irrelevant, but it does actually make a huge difference. So if you can, guys, just leave a like. Makes it mean the world to me, please. Right, how much more time shall I give you? Let's say as soon as the clock hits 46, because it's just hit 45. So as soon as it hits 46, we'll go through some of these. And if you guys have any questions, please ask me. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned, more interested in if you can do the bottom one. The second one, not so much. Just the third at the bottom is the one I'm most interested in, if you can answer it. Okay. Let's go in 20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Okay, add in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So here are some of the some of the answers. Okay, so what you should have obtained for the questions. Okay, and generally speaking, okay, they're saying the best way to formulate these answers or obtain these answers is to use some sort of example. Okay. So actually assign values. Okay, imagine that there are this many yellow balls, this many red, and so on and so forth, to actually help you obtain the ratio. Okay, that's what I tend to do, because it helps make it a bit easier in terms of recognizing how many of each there are. Okay, let's okay, yeah, so what I had now was just a recap of everything that we've covered so far, just to finish. Okay, because we're out of time, unfortunately, but just for the last, let's say 2 minutes, have a go at these, and then we'll wrap up for today. Okay, so just some simplifying, and then a question to do with a non-shaded triangle, or sorry, partly shaded triangle, should I say. What are you guys up to this week anyway? Got anything interesting planned? I mean, the weather's, it's sort of calmed down a bit, don't you think? I mean, where I am anyway, I'm a bit in the north. So where I am, so it's a bit cooler, a bit windy. It was raining a bit, which is a bit frustrating. I actually had to take my car to the garage today as well. So that was a bit annoying whilst it was raining. So yeah, it wasn't pleasant, but I managed to do it in the end. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you've got anything interesting planned. Let's move on. Okay, these are the answers for these. We'll skip a few of the next one. Quickly mark those for me, and we'll go to. Okay, let's. Okay. Unfortunately, guys, there is quite a bit to get through. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to call it there, just because of time restraints, and I don't want to go too far over. So I do apologize for not getting through all of them. But that is essentially all to do with ratios this week. Okay. As always, the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes or so we assign to asking questions. So if you guys have any questions at all to do with maths, to do with ratios, to do with anything at school that you're struggling with or you need some advice with, do let me know in the in the chat box, and I'll get those answered for you. Okay, if you have anything at the moment, let me know. I'm gonna wait around for another minute or so just to see if there's any questions, and then I'll answer those on camera. If you remember something afterwards, I'll still be in the chat for another 5-10 minutes or so to answer those questions on there. Okay, but again, I hope you enjoyed this. Please, 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 guys, If you learned something new today, or if you were able to utilize something in a way that was comfortable for you, or you found in a to be easy or understandable, please leave a like. It means the absolute world, and it helps us in terms of structure these lessons moving forward. Okay. I can't see any questions at the moment, so I'm just going to give it another short while. Okay, and then we'll just wrap things up. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this today, guys. Again, if you have any suggestions in terms of what you like going to do moving forward, also, again, happy for you to let me know, and then I'll try and incorporate that as well. Okay. But there doesn't seem to be any questions thus far, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to end it there. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. You've been absolutely amazing. It's always a pleasure. I'm Yusuf. I'm going to tune out now. This has been Math Squads with myself. I hope you enjoyed it. Have an amazing week, and I shall see you same time next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.